शन्नो मित्रशं वरुणः शन्नो भवत्वर्यमा शन्न इन्द्रो बृहस्पतिः शन्नो विष्णुरुक्रमः नमो ब्रह्मणे नमस्ते वायो त्वमेव प्रत्यक्षं ब्रह्मासि त्वमेव प्रत्यक्षं ब्रह्म वदिष्यामि ऋतं वदिष्यामि सत्यं वदिष्यामि तन्मामवतु तद्वक्तारमवतु अवतु माम् अवतु भक्तारम् ॐ शान्ति शान्ति शान्तिः ॐ सहना भवतु सहनौ भुनक्तु सह वीर्यङ्करवावहै तेजस्विनावधीतमस्तु मा विद्विषावहै ॐ शान्ति शान्ति शान्तिः. We have been at this dicey question of Brahman entering, so to speak, the creation. That's right, yeah. We are not hearing any details. So we have been looking at, you didn't miss anything. That's what you should say when they haven't heard. Yeah. So we are looking into the very intriguing question of this one sentence in the Shruti. Saha akamayat. Saha akamayat. And then what was that? And then tadeva tat srishtva tadeva anupravishat. It entered into everything. And this entry is just a very difficult thing to resolve, because we have to now think of how this Brahman entered. Did it drill a hole in the head and entered? Or like sometimes when we are talking, a mosquito enters in the mouth by mistake. So like that it entered. When we were breathing, it entered. How did it enter? And various theories have been posited, which we have been looking at for the last several weeks. Now, what is that? Maybe the cause entered the effect, just like the river entered the ocean. And someone said, no, it's all the cause alone. Where is the effect? There is no effect. Another person said, how can the cause enter the effect? And so because that is not possible, so let us say one part of the cause entered another part of the cause. Like what? Your hand entering the mouth. Lunch time, dinner time, hand enters the mouth. So like that, one part, which is Brahman, entered another part. Well, very innovative explanation, except for what? Except for the fact that here the hand can enter the mouth. Why? Because there is a golaka, space. There is space. Is there a space in the Jagat where the Brahman is not? No. There is no space. Why? Brahman is everything. All that is here is Brahman. Isha Vasyam idam sarvam. Whatever is there is pervaded by the Lord. So you cannot say, Brahman entered into another space, because there is no space which is non-Brahman. If non-Brahman space exists, then Brahman can enter, but there is no non-Brahman space. So that was also dismissed. One part of the cause cannot enter the other part of the cause. Then another Brihaspati, very clever person, said, what? Don't say tat tadeva anupravishat. The tat, you keep saying it's the cause. Why not say it is the effect? Effect entered the cause. Clap, clap, clap. This is wonderful. This should be the last argument. Charama argument. Why? Because if effect enters the cause, when does the effect enter the cause? Pralaya. Effect enters the cause means there is no more there is no more jagat. Jagat effect, Brahman cause. If effect enters the cause, then it is what? Resolution. We are not talking of resolution. This is Srishti Prakarana. This is the section that is dealing with Utpatti, not Laya. It is dealing with the emergence of this so-called Jagat, not Laya, not resolution. So that person also got a 0 in the Vedanta test. All right. And then the other argument that was advanced was that why not say it's like the one ghata entered into another ghata. One upadhi enters into another upadhi. And so why not say Brahman created this upadhi called body, mind, senses. Upadhi means like a container. And then said, aha, what a nice container, let me just slip into this. And then proceeded to shimmy into this upadhi and stay there. Why not take it that way? Because there is a virodha, there is a contradiction. What is the contradiction? Because if you, what is this upadhi made up of? 5 elements. What are the 5 elements? Where did the 5 elements come from? Brahman. And are they non-separate from Brahman? No. So the gross 5 elements became the body, and the subtle 5 elements, what did they become? Mind, senses, etc. Okay. And all this we can see in the Tattva Bodha text. All this is there. And so the subtle 5 elements became the mind and buddhi, antakarana, everything. And then the gross 5 elements became the body. And the 5 elements being non-separate from Brahman, that means Brahman has already entered as the mind, as the buddhi, as the body. So then how can it enter that which it has already entered? It cannot. Okay. And so that also, that it's a bad, what should I say? It's a bad take of the Upadhivada, or how else it is called? Avachcheda, Avacchinnavada, Avachchedavada. That also is not tenable. Now we are running out of options. Okay, there is nothing more to entertain. And so there is one more, what is that? One more attempt by the Purva Pakshi. Purva Pakshi is objector. And so the objector who wants to show that I means not I here, the Purva Pakshi, that she is very cognizant of what? The prevailing philosophies. Brings up one particular prevailing philosophy which is called Pratibimba Vada, a contention that says that just like if you put, let us understand first what this Pratibimba Vada is and how it operates in Vedanta Shastra before we actually look at the objection. Just a few words on Pratibimba Vada. So how did this Brahman enter the buddhi? Now, this is the question. How did it enter the buddhi? So then what do they say? Brahman is consciousness. And some teachers will also say it is the original consciousness. And then what? Then it is reflected in the mind, because the mind is subtle. And it is reflected in the mind just like in the moon, the sun light is reflected. Similarly, the mind is, that's why the mind is called, is like the moon. In the horoscope, if there is any problem with the mind, it is immediately seen by the placement of the moon. When they see the horoscope, they see first the Jupiter. Where is the Jupiter? Means the general charisma, luck, and just the poise, the grace that the one brings to the life, that is there in the guru's position. And if the guru is not very uh, if the guru is not very, oh, it's the fan, okay. If the guru is not very well aspected, the next thing they see is Shukra. Shukra is what? Venus. They see Venus. Because Venus is another guru. Come. Venus is another guru. Because Shukracharya was guru. Ah, Venus is also guru. Shukracharya, guru the. And whose guru was Shukracharya? Asuras. Is that his fault? No. His prarabdha that asuras came. It's not his fault. Poor person, he just only asuras came to him, and he also taught Vedanta alone. You are not the body. But asuras not understanding, they went away. That knot, they cut out the knot because they listened selectively. Yeah, because the heart was full of knots. So they cut out the knot, and then you are the body. Oh, yes, fantastic. Look at the muscles. Look how strong I am. This is how they went away. Ah, you are not the body. They didn't understand. A little slow, manda. And then you are the whole. There is nothing like you. You are the best, east or west. That they understood very well, because all of them are interested only in one thing, and one thing alone. What is that? World domination. Ah. All these asuras want world domination, because when Bhagavan becomes pratyaksha in front of them, when Bhagavan appears in front of them, what do they say? I don't want to be killed. They want amritatvam. And I want everybody to listen to me. Why? I don't know. But anyhow, that's one of their desires. Why should they listen to you? Why should anybody listen to you? But this is their prominent desire. Everybody should be in my vasha, in my control. And I should not be killed by any man. For Bhagavan, it's nothing. He will take Devi Swarupa and go. That's all. And that's why we have this text called Devi Mahatmyam. All the asuras that the goddess has vanquished appear there with their biodata, name, and everything. Everything is there with their sad little autobiographies, starting with Mahishasura. Okay, and so how they met their end is all there. It's but these are all asuras means what? Devotees gone wrong. So this is what it is. So then we have so we see the Shukra and then Guru in the horoscope, and one more thing we see is the placement of the moon. The moon and the mind are very closely aligned. If there is any derangement, it is evident in the horoscope. And so when they match the horoscope, they will just say it did not match. That's all. They will not go into any other details. They don't want to hurt anybody. They'll say, oh, sorry, it wasn't meant to be. Like that, they will say. So here, therefore, because of this affinity between the light and the borrowed light, and that affinity is also there in the mind. The mind shines in the borrowed light of what? Brahman. What other light means? Awareness, consciousness. And so that which makes this body conscious, which makes this body self-aware, is Brahman alone. But what kind of Brahman? That Brahman from the samashti upadhi, from the standpoint of the total. Samashti means total. From the standpoint of the total, what is it called? It is called chit. Chit. Sat chit. And then from the standpoint of the Vyashti, it is called what? Chidabhasa. Abhasa, reflection. So this reflection, again, we have to, have many quotes like this. We have to go. Not even one is not enough. Many inverted commas are needed, as though reflection. And we help ourselves to it. It is not a reflection really, because if we make a distinction between the original and the reflected consciousness, then what do we have at our hands? Two. We don't have one. Whereas the teaching says it's ekameva Advayam, Advitiyam. And so this is what is called Chidabhasa, Chit and Chidabhasa, or what is called Pratibimbavada. This reflected consciousness business. This is what it is. So then the last Purva Pakshi, thank God, the last the last Purva Pakshi comes up with a this very convincing view of this Pratibimbavada as an explanation for this so-called entry. So then he says, you can repeat, Jala Suryaka Adi प्रतिबिंबवत् प्रवेशः स्यात् इति चेत्. Yeah. Iti chet means, what if we say, suppose, supposing what? Jala Suryakadi. So we have to take Jaladi and Suryakadi. Okay. So we'll see why later. Okay, right now we have to take it like that. Jaladi, Suryakadi cha. So Pratibimbavat. Pratibimbavat means like, vat means sadrisham, pratibimba sadrisham. So like the pratibimba, like the reflection of jala, of the suryaka. Kutsitarte arthe kap pratyaya. The ka has many meanings which at the end. One of them is diminutive. Surya up in the heavens, and then what is in your pot of water? Suryaka. Baby Surya. It's not real Surya. If real Surya was in the pot, then the water would it would explode. The water would evaporate and then the pot would explode. The real Surya cannot, cannot enter this pot. So Surya, and then what's in the pot? Suryaka, baby Surya. Surya let. Okay. Yeah, in English, that's what we say, sunlet. Like piglet. Okay, pig and piglet. And so, like this, Surya and Surya let. Baby Surya. So, Jale, in the water, what? Baby Surya Adivat, like Surya Kadivat. And why this Adipada? Adipada means the Adi is there. Jala means not just water. Jala Adi. It can even be mirror. It can be mirror, it can be water, it can be so many things. Wherever this, whatever is the medium of reflection. And it can also be Shuddha Antakarana, which is where he is going now. Okay, so then it could be anything. Then Surya Kadi, it could be Surya, it could be your face, it could be anything. That is that which is reflected does not have to be Surya. Surya Kadi Vat, like even Surya, etc. Okay, and so this is so Jala. I lost this. Yeah, Jala Surya Kadi Pratibimbavat Praveshah Syat iti chet. Iti chet means, what if we say that Jala Surya Pratibimbavat Praveshah Syat? What if we say, this is one more argument, the last one. And I mean, if we have survived so long, one more is not going to be very difficult, okay? And this is kind of entertaining and little confusing also for different meanings. So Jala here means Jaladi, we have seen. So the clean water, placid water, clear water. When you look at yourself, you see your face, and then when you look at the water, the sun is reflected there. So then prakashatmakah. So this prakashatmakah Surya, then this Surya, which is just light in the placid water, just as it is reflected. Similarly, Brahma, this Brahman, Pratibimba Rupena, which is what? Jiva Rupena, has entered into this, in the form of the Jiva, has entered, as it were, into this body, mind, sense complex. Like what? Like the reflection. Did the sun really enter the water? No. So did Brahman enter the Jiva? No. As though reflected in that In that clear, so here the clear water is the Shuddha Antakarana, which is the mind, which is subtle. So therefore, this is so. Then sometimes we accept this as a tentative way of um, understanding the understanding the impossible, understanding that which cannot be objectified, that which doesn't have shape, that which doesn't have color, that which doesn't have form, that which is never away from me. In fact, it is the truth of myself, that which I cannot articulate, that which is known only through indicatory words, and that which is myself alone. How to do this? It is very difficult. So therefore, we kind of accept this, but here in even Adi Shankara will use this Pratibhimbavada elsewhere, but it is this reflected theory of consciousness, the theory of reflected consciousness must be first kicked out. First you wear boots and kick it out with a booted leg, okay, and then you give it a kick, send it out, and then it goes away squealing, and then after a while you bring it through the back door. Okay, it's one of those things. Because if it comes through the front door, it will occupy the throne. And then it will say, this is the explanation. And if this is the explanation, then that means we are stuck with two, Pratibimba and the Surya. We are stuck with these two things. We cannot have two even in our dreams. Even our dreams must be of oneness. Okay, after study of Vedanta, after a little while, dreams also should be Advaita dreams alone. And so therefore, Pujya Swamiji used to always say this, and then he would laugh and he would say, "Well, if you have a dream, that means the dreamer and dream is different because the dream is recalled again in the waking. So, what kind of dreams does the Vedantin have? He would say no dreams at all. No dream is the best dream. And so then so means dreams will be there because that is just a physiological process. REM state is there, and that shows you have slept well. Dream will be there, but it is not recalled. Why? Because there is no Dvaita. It gets absorbed into that very consciousness because it is not separate. You recall it because you want to know the meaning. You recall it because it stands out as other than you. So no dream means no dream recalled separately. And so here, this, what is that? This particular analogy of the sun and the reflection is useful in certain places, but then first we have to kick it out. You have to kick it out. Otherwise, if it comes and occupies the throne of explanation of Vedanta, then you will always be left with two, Surya and Pratibimba. Then you don't know what is the distance between the two. And so therefore you have to kick it out until it goes home crying. And then you say, okay, I'll take pity on you. Come through the back door. You can be a server. You can be a sevak. You can do seva. You cannot just run the show. So here first we are kicking it out. Okay. So Bhashya, what does it say? So then, where is the Bhashya here? So Bhashya, na aparichinnatvat amurtatvat cha parichinnasya murtasya anyasya anyatra prasadasvabhavake जलादौ सूर्यकादि प्रतिबिम्बोदयः स्यात् न तु आत्मनः अमूर्तत्वात्. So we don't accept this. It is acceptable, but when it comes through the back door as someone who is in service, not any other way, we don't accept it. Why don't we accept it? First, he says, No, no, not acceptable at all. So why is it not acceptable? Because aparichinnatvat. Suryaha aparichinnatvat is a whenever it says tvat means because. Fifth case. Fifth case is always giving the hetu, karana. Okay. And so aparichinnatvat means what? Parichinna means limited. Aparichinnatvat means because the Atma is, Brahman is limitless. So what does that mean? Surya. When we think of Surya, it is parichinna. It has a shape. Of course, you can't look at it unless it is setting or rising, then only you can look at it, but it has a shape. It is limited. And then, especially if you look at NASA pictures and keep it next to its grandfather called Betelgeuse, that's the name of a very big sun, and it is spelled very differently. Okay, not how you think. It's not the juice of a beetle. Okay, not it is not spelled like that at all. It is Betelgeuse. Okay, Betelgeuse. That is the name of a huge sun. In front of that sun, our sun is less than a pixel. Okay, tiny. All right. So that means what? Parichinna. Even to our eyes, parichinna. Scientifically, astronomically, also parichinna. All you do is bring Beetlejuice, and the sun goes away saying, "Mummy, mummy, I don't want to be here. I feel bad about myself. Look at all these big suns." And so this way, Surya, what? Parichinna. Then Atma, aparichinna. So this now we know the meaning of aparichinna. Parichinna means what? Finite, limited, occupying a certain time and a certain space. Time wise, limited. Surya is getting dimmer and dimmer. That's why it is having flares, sun flares, and then it is burning itself up. Then what will happen? It will become a blue dwarf. Blue dwarf means it will not be able to sustain, I mean, it can still sustain life, but not in the way we know it. And so the certain regions will become very frozen, certain regions will become very cold, incapable of sustaining plants, etc. All these things are there in a few 100 million years, not right now. So don't look worried. Okay, it's not right, it's not happening now. And so then after blue dwarf, it will become what? It'll blue dwarf is already on the way to a dying star. Yellow dwarf, blue dwarf, red dwarf, etc. And then only dwarf. Okay, yeah. So there is no source of light, or it will just self combust. All right. And so that means what? It is time wise parichinna. Then place wise also it is parichinna. It is just keeping on in the being in the solar system of these now 8 planets. Poor Pluto has been demoted. Okay, and we can't count him as a planet. And so then so if the sun is here, it is not over there. If the sun is located, our solar system is located in the Milky Way, it is not in the next door neighboring galaxy. What is its name? Andromeda, which is also, by the way, coming closer and closer to the Milky Way, and it will do swaha. A big yajna is coming up. Okay, yeah. So the Milky Way is going to be swahad up by Andromeda only because it is bigger and huge. That's why. And so it is 3 times or 4 times the size of Milky Way. So then poor Milky Way will just go away, and it will become it will become part of Andromeda. Anyway, so then it is parichinna. Time wise parichinna, deshatah parichinna, place wise parichinna, time wise parichinna, and then vastutah parichinna. The sun is sun, but it cannot be moon at the same time. So object wise limitation. So every thing enjoys or suffers from these threefold limitations. Now the sun is Surya Parichinna. It has a form, and then it has a form which is in time and space. Now we have to look at this. That very interesting. For the reflection to take place, this Parichinna argument is beautiful. Why should Adi Shankara bring the Parichinnatvam, bring up the Parichinnatvam of the sun. Very, very interesting, because it is occupying a limited time, space, etc. Why should we bring up this limitation? For the simple reason, this is because of the limitation, because of this Parichinnatvam alone, reflection can take place. That is his contention. Beautiful Bhashya here. Very nice. That is the contention. If the sun was unlimited in form, in shape, and it pervaded everything, how can reflection take place? So, cannot take place. So now imagine, sun is finite in time, in place. It's not moving around everywhere. It is fixed in time, in place, in this particular shape and form. And then you keep one bucket water. All right. And then in the water has no sun, correct? Water has no sun. Why? Surya parichinnah. The Surya is finite. It is stuck in one place. In the water, is there sun? No sun is there. And then there should be viprakrishtatvam, separation between that which is to be reflected and the medium of reflection. For the reflection to take place, this is the basic principles of reflection. Otherwise, how reflection can happen? All right. And so same thing. Let's say you are there, standing in front of the mirror. So your face is not the mirror, correct? So mirror is away from your face is not the mirror. Mirror is separate, your face is separate, and you have a little bit of a distance between you and the mirror. And that's how your face can be reflected. And so that's how, so therefore, the reflection is possible because Suryaha Parichinnah. The sun is finite and has a particular form and is away from the water. Now, replace Surya with Brahman. What do you get? A big problem. All right. So, Brahman, what is Brahman? The Brahman is everything. Aparichinnatvat. Is Brahman having a shape? No. Answer came late, but it was correct. Thank God. So, is Brahman having a form? No. No shape, no form, no size, nothing. Brahman is just it is aparichinna. Now, having no shape, no form, no size. And then, what is the water? Is the reflecting medium away from that which is to be reflected? What is the reflecting medium? Brahman. Whatever I ask, the answer is Brahman. Okay? Yeah. And now, even after telling the answer, if it doesn't come, it will be disappointing. So, what is the reflecting medium? Brahman. And then, so how can it be reflected? If Brahman is everything, then there is no question of it being reflected in one place, like Jala Surya Kadivat. So therefore, the first objection, the answer, first answer was na, and then after na, the first hetu is aparichinnatvat. Aparichinnatvat means there being no question of it being reflected in one place, because the jala, if there is a reflecting medium like water, what is water? Ayyo, what is water?
Reflecting
Brahman. I told
light.
you the answer, right? Yeah. Still the answer does not come means I'll be very sad. So what is the water? Brahman.
Brahman.
What is that which is to be reflected? Brahman. What is the reflection? Brahman. How is it going to be reflected? And what is the space between the reflecting medium and the object of reflection? Brahman. There is no antara, there is no space. Space is Brahman, time is Brahman, everything is Brahman. So if Brahman is sitting like a big dada, like everywhere, Brahman is sitting where? In the original, whatever, that consciousness is also Brahman. And that which is to be the place where the reflection should take place, buddhi, Brahman is already sitting in the buddhi. All right? And then the space between the individual upadhi and the samashti Brahman is what? That space is what? Brahman. How do we know? Tasmad va etasmad atmana akashas sambhutah. That which was studied in the previous janma. Okay, this portion. This portion was studied in the last life. Meaning, I forgive you if you don't remember. All right. So, so then, so it is all Brahman. Everything being Brahman, what reflection are you talking about? This is the problem with the theory of reflected consciousness, as though reflected consciousness. Because if the reflecting medium, what is its nature? If it is away from Brahman, then how can it reflect? What is it reflecting? Who is the reflector? Who is the reflected? Where is the reflection taking place? For the reflection to be taking place, there should be antara. There should be space between the reflected material and the medium of reflection. If everything is one, then what reflection are you talking about? This is the argument here. So the first meaning, first objection was given here is aparichinnatvat. Not only that, the next one was what? Amurtatvat cha. Murta, that which has form. Amurta, yeah, thank God nobody said Brahman. So, so Amurtatvat means because of it having no form. Because of it having no form. That is the idea. What are we talking about? What is it that has no form? Yes, Brahman, correct. Correct. Amurtatvacha. Sun has a form. Correct. Sun has Murta. Sun is Murta. And then Brahman doesn't have a form. So that which doesn't have a form, how can it be reflected? With regard to the sun, you can say, this is Surya. Can you similarly say, this is Brahman reflected in my buddhi? No, you cannot say that. Brahman doesn't have any form. So then let's see, we can take one more thing. You see, let's say you're standing in front of the mirror, and then the mirror is showing the door of your house behind you, let's say. So you're standing in front of the mirror, combing your hair or doing something, and the door opens and your friend walks into your room, walks into your house, and then you recognize, you haven't even turned back and seen the person, but you recognize them and say, hello, how are you? When did you come? I thought you were out of town, but you're here. How nice to see you. You tell the reflection itself. That means what? You have recognized that person's face. Can you similarly say to Brahman, when did you come? Because it is being reflected and seeing the reflection. When did you come? How nice of you to have you here. How nice of you to enter my mind. How wonderful it is to have you here. Can you say that? Absolutely not. So you cannot, amurtatvat, no form. So two explanations are given. Aparichinnatvat, one, amurtatvat, second. Then he gives he goes into a little bit of detail. Again, where is the Bhashya? Here it is. And what is the detail here? Let's see. Yeah, so parichinnasya मूर्तस्य अन्यस्य अन्यत्र प्रसादस्वभावके जलादौ सूर्यकादि प्रतिबिम्बोदयः स्यात् न तु आत्मनः अमूर्तत्वात्. Yeah. So, parichinnasya murtasya, that which is parichinna, that which is limited. How limited? Deshatah parichinnaha, kalatah parichinnaha, vastutah parichinnaha. All this we have seen. Place wise, time wise, space wise, and object wise. So, in terms of time, space, and object, it is for that which is limited. Parichinnasya, murtasya, that which has form. Anyatra. Anyatra means elsewhere. where prasada swabhavake, clear, that which has a clear nature in the padartha, in the object which has the swabhava of being polished on a polished surface. Prasada swabhavake, for example, jaladau, in the water, etc., water, mirror, etc. And then Surya Dehe. So for the Surya, etc., of the Surya, Pratibimbodayaha, the birth of the Pratibimba, the rise of the Pratibimba is possible. Why? For that which is finite, Parichinnasya. But then he says, Natu Atmanaha. For the Atma, this Pratibimba is not possible. Why? Amurtatvat. Amurtatvat. But here one can argue, the Pratibimbavadins can say the following. What can they say? They can say, you know what? We are talking of light, this Prakasha Swarupa, lighters. We are not talking of the sun, orb of the sun. We are not talking of that round thing. We are talking of how dissipated the light is. Light has no form. So, like this, Brahman in the form of the light has entered the mind. You can say that, has entered the Antahkarana. Why can't you say that light is reflected? Just like the even this tube light is just more diffuse here. And so similarly the light consciousness, the reflected light is in the consciousness. That's why Bhashyakara knows that that is where we will go with this argument. So one more, one more objection, or one more hetu is given. What is that? He says, he says, आकाशादि कारणस्य आत्मनः व्यापकत्वात्. आकाशादि कारणस्य, for that Atma which is the cause of space also, Vyapakatvat, because of it being all pervasive, Akashadi Karanatvat, being the cause for space. That means all the things that are in the world, including the reflecting media, such as mirror, water, etc., everything is Brahman. Akashadi Karanatvam, Vyapakatvam, it is everywhere is Brahman. All pervasive is Brahman. Brahman is here, Brahman is there, Brahman is the reflecting medium, Brahman is the reflection, Brahman is the original thing that is to be reflected. So, where is the question of reflection? Tell me. No reflection is possible. There is no reflection possible at all. How can such a thing? Where is the question? No reflection. The reflecting medium, which is Namarupa, what is that? Brahman. And and then what is Akasha? Brahman. And it is, and because it is the cause of everything, there is no question of it not being there. And if it is not, there should be a place where Brahman is not, for it to be reflected. Because we saw in the original example, Surya, and then what? Jala, no Surya. Surya and a place where there is no Surya, mirror or Jala. Mirror example we don't give because we don't want to set things on fire. Mirror, magnifying glass and all. We just will bring the heat of Surya also. We just want the light of Surya, not the heat. So we bring the water here. Okay, all this they knew in the olden days. And so they were very careful with examples. So mirror only for face, not for Surya, because then it will catch fire. That's what it will be. And we'll have an instant and unplanned yajna. All right. And so therefore, so when we talk of sun and then water. So there is sun confined in the skies, and then here what? No sun. And then the antara between the sun and the water pot, what is that? No sun. Sun, no sun, no sun, no sun, no sun. And therefore the reflection is possible because it has a place where it is not. Now, if we take Brahman, does Brahman have a fixed place? No, aparichinna. So that means we cannot say Brahman and point to a place. It has no location. You cannot point, say, there is this lovely Brahman. And then this Brahman is everywhere. And so if we keep a pot of water, that is also what? Brahman. And that which is to peek into the pot of water, Brahman. And the space between Brahman, the face of Brahman, if it has a face, and then the water is what? Brahman. So how can there be a reflection? It is just not possible. So therefore, the beautiful, the last hetu given is Akashadi Karanatvat Brahmanaha. Akashadi Karanatvat means Vyapakatvat, being all pervasive, being the cause of everything. There is no question of it not being there. And if it is not there, how can the reflection be there? That very object is the cause of Akasha, which is Sarva Vyapakam. And therefore, Akashadi Karanatvad Vyapakatvad Tad Viprakrishta Desha Pradesha Abhavat. Viprakrishta means away. Distance should be there. A separate place where the adhishthana of the pratibimba, the adhara of the pratibimba, the vastu antara, another vastu. Because the pratibimba and the original cannot be one and the same. So the pratibimba adhishthana is what? Is the mirror. The adhara for the pratibimba is a separate place. Viprakrishta means separated. Separated by what? By that original not being there. That thing which should be reflected should not be there. So then what is there? Surya, if you take it as Surya, Surya is there. Vastu Antara. Vastu Antara means space is there. So here, Viprakrishta Desha Pratibimba Adhara, that which is the pratibimba adhara. What is the pratibimba adhara? The that which is the source of the pratibimba, which is what? Viprakrishta desha is itself the pratibimba adhara. Pratibimba adhara means the place where the reflecting medium, that which is going to hold the reflection. Adhara means it's going to locate the reflection. That should be what? Viprakrishta desha. It should be separated, and it's either jala, which is water, or mirror. So then it is should be other than that which is to be reflected. So in between antara, there should be no surya, there should be nothing there. It should be different from surya, and then therefore the jala becomes endowed with having the status of pratibimba adhara vastu. It becomes, it is vastu antara, another vastu. Then only this takes place. And so now what? Viprakrishta desha pratibimba adhara vastu antara abhavat. Since there is a abhava, there is no pravesha possible. Na yuktaha, it is not proper to talk about any reflection entering anywhere, because there is no, there is nothing there. There is nothing there. And then, so there we have now this argument has been shot down, like shot down with a bunch of arrows. Yeah. What are arrows? Brahman. Okay. And so tad viprakrishta desha pratibimba adhara vastu antara bhavacha pratibimbavat praveshaha na yuktaha. Not possible. Ayyo. And then what to do now? Evam tarhi na eva asti praveshaha न च गत्यन्तरम् उपलभामहे तदेव अनुप्राविशत् इति श्रुतेः श्रुतिश्च. Let's stop there only. That is itself a mouthful. Evam tarhi means in this manner, alas, what? Na eva asti praveshaha. There can be no entry possible. All this time we have been just, what is that? Frying our brains for the last several sessions. What is that called? Bheja fry. Okay, so we have been frying our brains, trying to find out how this Brahman entered my body, mind, sense complex and how it got there. And then now, what is the conclusion? Tarhi, if that is the case, meaning if all these arguments are not going to work, if Karya did not enter Karana, Karana did not enter Karya, one Karya did not enter another Karya, one Karana did not enter another Karana, if all the things, and then this as though reflection is also shot down, then what do we have? Nothing. So, evam tarhi, in this manner, if this is the case, na eva asti praveshaha, there is no entry possible. No question of entry. And then if there is no entry possible, nacha, furthermore, and gati antaram upalabhamahe, we don't see any other possibility also. Gati means any other direction, there is no place to go. For what? Tadeva anupravishat iti shrutehe. For this shruti which says Tadeva anupravishat. For this so-called pravesha shruti, there is no other explanation. No other explanation is possible. All possibilities we thought about: direct pravesha, indirect pravesha, as somehow pravesha, karana is pravesha into karya, all this. We are not able to see any other gati. Gatyantara means any other way, any other possibility we are not able to see for this Shruti. What is the Shruti? Tadeva anupravishat iti Shrutehe. Na upalabhamahe. We do not gain, we do not get, we don't have any other option. Further, there is another problem, as though this was not enough. Another problem is there. What is there? Shrutischa nah atindriya vishaye vijnana utpattau nimittam. At the same time, we cannot dismiss it. You cannot explain it and you cannot dismiss it. Why? Cha, furthermore, what? Shrutihi, this Shruti, what is the meaning of Shruti? Naha, asmakam, for us. So, for us, the Shruti is what? The Shruti is atindriya vishaye, in the matters of things beyond the sensory perception, in matters which need to be known beyond the sensory perceptions. Atindriya Vishaye means for the subject matters, subject matter that has not to do with direct sense perception. Here we can include Anumana, Arthapatti, and the other two. What are they? Anupalabdhi and Upama, etc. All the pramanas which are in our hands, though that is called Indriya Vishaya, because everything is based on Pratyaksha, which is Indriya Pramana. So this Indriya Pramana Vishaya, it is not what? Brahman. It is what? Atindriya Vishaya. Beyond the scope of the sense organs. You cannot see Brahman, you cannot hear Brahman, you cannot touch Brahman, you cannot intuit Brahman, you cannot infer Brahman, you cannot think that it exists. All this thing is not there at all. So atindriya vishaye, in matters that have to do with those issues, those things which are not the sense organs, not having to do with being captured by the sense organs, vijnana utpattau nimittam. Nimittam is karanam. So the Shruti is the cause for us to gain vijnanam, to gain knowledge of atindriya vishaya, of subject matter which is beyond the scope of the sense organs. What is beyond the scope of the sense organs? Brahman. I told you the answer. So for understanding things beyond the scope of the sense organs, we have to rely on the Shruti. Nimittam here is pramanam. It is the only pramana. So we have a problem. First is we cannot explain this entry. Second is, but at the same time, the Shruti is the only thing that helps us to understand what is this thing. We cannot understand this, but at the same time, for us, we have to rely on the Shruti in matters which we cannot intuit, we cannot come to an understanding of our own. Okay, so then this is another problem. So we don't see any other way of looking at it. And the Shruti, of course, for us, atindriya vishaye, it is the pramana. Atindriya vishaye pramana. For what? Vijnana utpattau, for the rise of knowledge. Of what? Brahman. Of a subject matter. What is the subject matter? Atindriya vishaya, which is beyond the senses, beyond the scope of inference, etc. Anadhigata Vishaya. That's what it is. That which is not adhigata. So for the Atindriya Vishaya Vijnana, for the knowledge to rise, asmakam, for us, Shrutireva Karanam. This is the Shruti, is the Pramana. It tells even Swarga, heaven exists Atindriya Vishaya. We don't know. It is beyond the scope of the senses. And then what? Now we are talking about Shruti. Shruti is talking about the Srishti of the Jagat and how it entered, how Brahman entered the Jagat. And were you there when Srishti started? No. So therefore it is Atindriya Vishaya. You were not there. And so you cannot say, I saw it. And your grandfather, grandmother, they were also not there. Neither their grandmother, their grandfather were there. And so therefore it was not witnessed by anyone. Correct? So therefore you cannot say it is Indriya Vishaya or it is somebody else's Indriya Gocharatvam. I am relying on Vriddha Vyavahara, etc. You cannot bring in some grandfather tales, you cannot bring in here. Okay? And you cannot say, my great grandmother told me so. You cannot say. She heard it from her great grandfather, who heard it from his great grandmother, we cannot say. And so, therefore, the Shruti now says, Tadeva Anupravishat. So we need to understand what it means. We are not finding any meaning at all. So, therefore, what? Nacha अस्माद् वाक्यात् यत्नवतामपि विज्ञानम् उत्पद्यते Yatnavataamapi. Even though we have hit our heads for the last yatna, we have put a lot of effort. We haven't put the effort. Poor Adi Shankara put the effort, but we think we have put the effort by including ourselves into this parampara. We say we have put the effort. Yatnavatam means for the people who are yatnavan, plural, yatnavatam api. So even for the people who have put sincere effort, we have broken our heads trying to arrive at what is this entry. So nahi yatnavatam api na asmad vakyat vijnanam upapadyate. No knowledge has taken place. Even though we have put so much effort, so sad only. Very sad. No knowledge has taken place. So then, even though the Shruti is meant for what? Giving Vijnanam. Even though it's supposed to give knowledge, then Vijnanam is not born. For whom? For the Yatnavatam, for even for the people who have made sincere and intelligent effort from this sentence, no Vijnanam has arisen from this sentence. Which sentence? Tadeva anupravishat iti. So now we have two options. First options, throw away that sentence. Jahyat. Throw away that sentence. Option number 1. Option number 2, come back tomorrow and hit the head a little more, hoping that some arthaspuranam will take place. What would you like to do? Okay, we'll see tomorrow. Om Purnamadav Purnamidam Purnat Purnamudachyate Purnasya Purnamadaya Purnamevavashishyate Om Shanti 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 Harihi Om Gurubhyo Namaha Harihi Om.
Thank you, Swamini ji.
Thank you. That was
Beautiful.
fun.
Swamiji, thank you so much.
Thank you.